Hello everyone, how's it going? Okay, it is time to start panicking right now because Sony just announced news on physical new games and news on the PlayStation 3 store and PlayStation Vita. They are ending production for all physical games this generation in 2028. This generation has been the worst I've ever seen in my life. First, we've had console prices constantly going up. We've had storage units going up, and now physical game production is ending for PlayStation. I don't want to show that video of them handing a game in the PlayStation 4 that won them the console generation for the last 2 years because they don't stand for that anymore. All the people who stood by that, allowed this to happen, or have been removed from the company. This is terrible, and this affects everyone because this is how movies are going to go. There are still physical music options that people are starting to become aware of, that they lose access to the music that they stream, and streaming services just suck when it comes to music, so people buying physical with that. Blu-ray players are skyrocketing in purchases because now younger generations are realizing that, hey, I don't own these products because Sony just literally delisted over 500 movies that you paid for. You didn't even rent this. These were paid purchases. And now they're just completely going away with physical games, and they're also removing the PlayStation 3 and PS Vita stores from their catalog, which means any game that you have on your PlayStation 3 that are exclusive to that store or the Vita, you can no longer download them or have access to them. Like, if you thought you could access and download those games, no, they're pulling a Nintendo here where they're shutting down the entire store, and that means you lose access to like games like the original Resistance trilogy. You can't play that on the PlayStation current store. Mega Man Legends, another game you cannot get on modern day hardware. And before some dumbass or retard says, oh well, you can stream the game, Sony's streaming service sucks, and you need to pay in order to use it. You need to get a PlayStation Plus subscription to use it. So anytime people give me that stupid argument about how, yeah, most games are digital now, people buy digital, this is to remove your ownership when it comes to physical products, because I have physical games you can see right here. As long as I take care of these, I can play them, and I have the respective hardware to play them. We used to have backwards compatibility where every console moving forward would have backwards compatibility with older games, and it's so easy nowadays that even Microsoft showed how easy it was. They put mostly backwards compatibility on the Xbox. Yeah, there are certain games you still can't play, like Area 51, Simpsons Hit and Run, but for the most part you can play a lot of games backwards compatibility. It's just they make all these excuses, and I think GTA is the turning point for this, because now there are reports that stated that Rockstar isn't even planning to have physical releases for this game even after December. They said they were going to release physical discs, but there's a rumor that's saying that they're not even going to do that. And I think this is going to be the turning point because a lot of people are giving excuses because this is GTA 6. Whether it's removing content to sell at $100 edition, to not have physical editions. GTA can get away with this because it's GTA, but not every product can get away with that, and now we're seeing this happen where they're removing the complete used game market. So if you want an older game out there, like say I said Resistance, and since you can't play it on the PlayStation Store, you will have to buy a physical copy, and now those things are going to balloon in prices because now they realize, hey, they're not even going to have physical releases. And on top of this is also going to affect third-party supporters because now they have to adhere to the demands of the PlayStation Store, and you guarantee Microsoft is going to do this. They've been trying to do this since the original Xbox One with DRM. So they are going to do this with Project Helios. There is not going to be a disc drive, and I know people are going to say, well, for PC, they've never had physical releases other than very special editions like for Baldur's Gate 3. The issue with that argument is that you still had stores that allowed you to copy games. You can buy an external disk drive and you can say get Cyberpunk 2077 or Dino Crisis on GOG. Then you can copy the file onto a disk, burn it, and then say your cousin or your friend or someone wants to play it, you can just give it to them. And that's what this thing is really trying to do. They're trying to make sure that you cannot get these games anywhere. Remember, they're not bringing their games to PC anymore. So if you want to play the next God of War game, the next, I don't know if they remaster Uncharted or something like that, you can't. You have to get it from the PlayStation Store, and if they decide, you know what, since you can't get this anywhere else, and since you cannot get this game from a third-party market, because a lot of people do that, they wait until a third-party market, they wait for people to buy the game, then they buy it off eBay for like $30 because that person has bought and played the game, they don't want it anymore, they just give it away. Or they give it away to their friends or family, say, hey, you want this game? Yeah, whatever. They lose a sale on that. Now you can't do that anymore because now you're just going to be like, oh yeah, well, now you can't even refund the game. You have a digital product which they can take back at any time, even though this should be stealing. But yeah, this is why Stop Killing Games is so important, and you support the organization, because if they decide, you know what, you purchased God of War La Fey, and they decide a year later, we're just going to take it back because we have an arbitrary service clause where it says that after a year, if you didn't play the game, we're just going to take it away. Or even worse, because Xbox Game Pass kind of opened the gates with this, they say, oh, you can't even buy the game digitally anymore. You have to subscribe to their service, and you have to stay subscribed for 6 months plus. If you don't think these companies will do this, they will. And it's only when people start to fight back with their dollar that they're going to push back. I've said a lot about before I read this article, because I just want to set how bad this is for the entire industry, not just gaming, movies, books, you name it. Because the second they start to push this, and they are pushing this right now, there's no going back. In response to the shifted trends in consumer preferences, new games were released on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. Consumer preferences at broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical disc to digital. Physical game production for all new games released on PlayStation console will be discontinued starting January 2028. All new games. That means third party too. That means Konami, Capcom, Bandai Namco, you name it. Completely gone. Following this date, new games will be available on the PlayStation Store at retailers in digital formats only. This transition, no impact on games that already released or were releasing prior to January 2028 in this format. And you have to also take into consideration, not everyone has access to the same internet. Physical releases allow people who have very slow internet to buy a physical release and play the game. But now they're trying to, they've been trying to introduce this for many years. The most sinister way they did it is through day one patches, where you would buy a game like Assassin's Creed Shadows or Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, Starfield, Halo Infinite, and you would not be able to play the game because it was not on the disc. It was just half the game, and you had to download a day one patch to access the game. So they've been trying to do this for many years, and now they're basically bringing the guillotine down. This is a natural direction for Sony Entertainment to adapt to consumer trends. This is absolutely bullshit. No, it's not. This is for them to make even more money, because now every publisher, every company, every customer, if they want a PlayStation game, have to get it through this store. They cannot borrow the game from another person. They cannot sell the game to another person. This is to destroy the used game market, to make sure they have full control to charge whatever they want. If they want to charge $150 for God of War La Fey, they can. What are you going to do about it? You cannot buy that game third party anymore, and there is nothing you can do about it other than take the high seas route. But even with that situation, there is a larger risk when it comes to that, because let's face it, there are malware concerns, consumer protections are not as strong anymore, especially when it comes to security, and there are just so many things out there that you should be aware of. Like, downloading and emulating games have become more risky than they've ever been before. As the general practice for digital media significantly outpace physical discs, just because it outpaces it doesn't mean there isn't a customer base out there. It's like with, here's like an example of this, Metroid. Metroid is one of Nintendo's least popular franchises. It is. In terms of sales, in terms of everything, Metroid is down at the bottom. Even though I love Metroid, I love Samus Aran, it's not the greatest franchise. But because they have a market within that genre, they still make money off it. It may not be all the money, but it's still something there. And this is why competition is more important than ever. Like, I'm surprised there isn't going to be a class action lawsuit about this, because this seems like it's going to be like price fixing. Whereas, like, there's no competition for physical disc anymore. This is so anti-consumer. It's like what's going on with the RAM situation right now, which is another problem with this, because games go up to 600 gigabytes nowadays, because they can artificially increase the size of these games. And then just say, oh, you can't, this game is so large, you want a new storage drive? Well, it only works for the Sony official storage drive, and that happens to cost just as much as the console. Oh, if you get a third-party storage drive, we'll just ban your console, and now your system is just a paperweight. If you don't think companies will do this, you're an idiot. Like, do not listen to people like that ever again. Even if they said, well, I do that right now with my Nintendo Switch 2, they know what's on your Nintendo Switch 2. Only the most tech-savvy people out there who have, like, YouTube Shorts showing, like, they have hundreds of games on their Xbox 360. I've seen the videos. I'm sure you've seen the videos. Those are very tech-savvy people, and I guarantee people like you and me probably can't do that. But yeah, they are literally making it sure that you can't do anything with the product you purchase. They have full control to set the prices to the point that there is no competition, and then they'll make sure that if you ever try and find a way to outsmart them, they'll just brick your system. Like, there you go. Like, this is why we need people like Valve. As much as I don't like defending a multi-billion-dollar company, Valve is the only company right now that's holding back crap like this. The only way Sony's getting away with this is because they have first-party exclusives. But Valve is the only one holding back crap like this. Like, that's why I always defend Valve. That's why, despite living in New York, I hate the fact what our lawmakers are doing with Valve. Like, this is why we need a company like that to hold back stuff like this. But even then, it only does so much. The transition will enable us to most closely align with our most community prefers to access and play games today. Bullshit. Bullshit. I don't care if this video gets like a yellow mark or, well, I'm not monetized on this channel. Well, if it gets hidden or shadow banned. That is garbage. They are lying to your face. This is for them to make money and control your product. So you cannot trade in your physical games. Like, I'm genuinely angry about this because it's only a matter of time before they say you cannot even buy the game digitally and you have to pay for the service. And then even then, they're probably going to charge $100 a month for the service. Again, you don't think it's going to happen. It will happen. We'll continue to prioritize our resources to drive innovation in how players access... Oh, I'm not reading any of this garbage. This is complete BS. And here's for the PS Vita store. After nearly 2 decades of supporting the PS3 console generation, we're going to let you know that we are closing the PlayStation Store and PlayStation 3, as well as PS Vita. Remember, they were trying to do this years before. It got so much pushback, they reversed their decision. PlayStation Store and PlayStation 3 will close in select markets starting this year, following global closures for PlayStation 3 and PS Vita next year. That means new content purchases will no longer be possible once the PlayStation Store closes on these devices. The ease to transition, players will still be able to download previous purchased content at a closing store date for the foreseeable future. Foreseeable future, which means it's if you bought like God of War Ascension or Mega Man Legends or Resistance, they can close this down at any time, and you just lose access to the game you paid for. Like, even with, like, I used Valve as an example. Say for Spec Ops The Line, I purchased that game. Even though it's delisted, I can uninstall and reinstall that game as many times as I want because I purchased the game before it got delisted. So it doesn't matter. Valve is just like, yeah, he purchased the game. He has access to it. You have to keep access to people who want to download that game. This is garbage. Like, imagine if they break into my house and just take back my games and say, oh yeah, the license for this is expired, so we're just going to take it back. Even Anthem, I have Anthem all the way up there. EA can't come into my house and just say, oh, well, the servers are shut down for this, we're going to take this back. We're seeing this going to happen. Like, it's already happening with cars now. They have a literal patent which allows them to drive the car off your property if you miss a payment. Like, we're literally living in cyberpunk. Like, oh my god. As the PlayStation Store continues to evolve to support even modern commerce, including updated payment processing standards, PlayStation 3 and PS Vita are no longer able to support these updates at the level required. That is such bullshit, man. If modders can figure this out, how the hell can't you? I'm raising my voice is because people who do this for free, just for the love of the game, figure this stuff out. And you're telling me a multi-billion-dollar company can't? Garbage. 100%. It's just like, yeah, we can't figure this out, so we're just gonna shut it down. Yeah, no one believes that anymore. Like, modders, literally you could go on YouTube and see tech experts explaining this stuff on a level even an idiot like me can understand, and you're telling me you guys can't. No, this is just for control. They know that the PlayStation 3 has backwards compatibility with PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 games, and they just want to sell you back the service and the games. They want to say, oh, you want to play Ape Escape? You have a physical edition and a PlayStation 3? Well, technically you can play the game that way, or you can pay us for a PlayStation Plus subscription and stream the game using our crappy streaming service, which runs the game worse than a PlayStation 1 and somehow has input delay, garbage resolution, and it's just completely connected to the internet. So if you do something we don't like, we're just gonna shut down your PlayStation account, and then you lose access to all your digital game. That's something I should have opened with. If they shut down your PlayStation account, you lose access to everything. Everything. That means every game you ever purchased, Stando snapped, gone forever. Same thing for Xbox, same thing for Nintendo with the game e-card, those stupid key cards and stuff like that. Like, people don't realize, you lose your account, you lose everything. There's no appeasement process. Like, you try to go to Nintendo or Sony or Microsoft's service, yeah, right. Like, they're going to take time for you. Like, you're not calling Moriarty where you can call someone at PlayStation and be like, hey, my account got hacked, can you help me? Most of us are screwed. So these are the Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua, closed in August. Latin America and Middle Eastern countries with late 2026. All other countries will be next year in July. Yeah. So yeah, this is them just trying to screw you over. This is them to have full control over you. So if they don't like what you're doing, or they decide they just hate you, they could just like disable your PlayStation account. You lose access to all the games you ever purchased, and that's it. Gone forever. Nothing you can do about it. Sue us, which you can't do because they'll just filibuster you into the ground. This is why Stop Killing Games is important. This is why you need to support Ross with every single thing you do, because they're taking the mile now. We're done with this. This is literally panic time. This is where they just decide to bring the guillotine down and say, well, you don't own your games. We can take away your games at any time, even if you paid $70, $80, $100 for it. We can cancel your account at any time and you lose access to everything. You have no other options because, let's face it, the only way you can buy these games is through the PlayStation Store. Publishers and developers, do what we say or else, because, again, PlayStation is still a humongous market. You either put the games on our system and do what we say, or that's it. It's not like Valve. Valve is pretty open about this stuff, where they're like, hey, it's like, yeah, Valve has its issues, but for the most part, they're developer first and publisher. They're developer first and consumer first for a lot of things. But in this case, Sony is not. They're not your friend. Do not. Like that video that with the PlayStation 4, like, I refuse to play anymore because it no longer stands for their principles. This is literally make it or break it. We need to take a stand on this, and man, this is really bad because Xbox is next. Xbox is already conducting layoffs. They're already closing down studios. They're shutting down third-party support with a lot of things. Project Helios is basically just a PC, which according to the rumors, we don't know yet, but it's highly inferred it's just a PC with an Xbox store built into it, like freaking the new RGO Ally, I believe it's called. Like, I saw a friend use that, and it's basically just a Steam Deck with the Xbox store on it. But yeah. This is make it or break it time. It is time to panic. They are coming for our games, and we need to take a stand on this. I'd love to hear your opinion on this. If there's anything I missed or stated, tell me no, but I am venomously against this as someone who collects physical games, and that's it from me. I'm going to go cool off. It's like 100 degrees in here.